Ladies and gentlemen, the American jury and Bulldog Nation, they will just not let Trump go. The New York Attorney General, who is a black woman, who is a Democrat, has secured with a friendly judge an order that Trump, his son, and his daughter have to give a deposition in these cases. The only problem with that is it's a criminal investigation. So that is an absolute waste of time. And of course, this decision will be appealed ad nauseum. But it cracks me up, and it all has to do with the valuation issue, which I have talked to you about again and again and again. You know what? It's almost the parable of crying wolf. Boy, the cry wolf parable has gotten worn out when it comes to Donald Trump, and it will again. Hillary spoke yesterday at the New York Democratic Convention, and I mean, you talk about a woman who is delusional and shameless. She has the nerve to do the old threaten democracy bit. When we know everything that they did. I mean, folks, I coined the phrase, and it is so damn true. Hillary Clinton and company are full-blown political gangsters. I mean, you could catch Hillary Clinton standing over a dead body with a smoking freaking gun. And by golly, she would say, Donald Trump did this. I mean, it doesn't matter what it is. Hillary Clinton, deny. Joe Biden continues to push the attack on Russia. And you know, just so you know about my idea, and by the way, Tucker Carlson covered this last night. He must watch my show about Putin punking the United States and the whole world. And it cracks me up when they push this false flag issue. By the way, do you remember the bounty that Russia was paying bounties for Afghans to kill American soldiers? And the outrage that was going, and it wasn't true? You know, you don't think the Russians are not smart enough? Can you imagine what Russia releases to our dumbass intelligence agencies that's false, knowing they just take it and run with it? Our intelligence agencies are acting like they know all this information. I guarantee you it's the Russians feeding it to them. It's hysterical. Geraldo Rivera actually called the convoy in Canada an act of war. You know, where was Geraldo's roots when he used to be fighting for the little guy? It's amazing what little money does. Speaking of the Canadian convoy, Chris Barber has been arrested, and there's been no announcement of why he's been arrested. He was the organizer of the Canadian convoy. Well, he just got arrested. For what? And speaking of that, the Ohio Republican Party passed a law yesterday, or the day before, saying that was targeted to the convoy that's coming, it's going to go February 23rd from California to Washington, D.C., that was targeted those truckers about disrupting anything. There's already laws on the books for rioting, disturbing the peace, so forth and so on. But the Ohio Republican Party actually passed a law targeting truckers. I tell you right now, the Ohio Republican Party is the party for corruption. It's the party for health care, medical care industry, insurance industry, big law firm industry. That's what the Ohio Republican Party stands for. The Ohio Republican Party is so far removed from the people, it's ridiculous. They're now claiming that if you are not for climate change, then that means that you're for misinformation. In other words, climate change, you have to buy that hook, line, and sinker, or you're passing along misinformation. AOC, again in the news. First, she says she doesn't want a democracy. Her latest, bragging about the money that she pushed Federal money, your tax dollars, for illegal immigrants. AOC, talk about it, she's a threat to our democracy. Her and her squad. Pet confiscation. The Canadians are taking away truckers' pets. You can't make it up. Enes Kanter, the outspoken, now former NBA player, imagine that. By the way, he doesn't get any of the ink that Colin Kaepernick got. Enes Kanter's been nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize for his speaking out about human rights in China and how the NBA and LeBron James caters to China. I'm going to give Oracle status to Enes Kanter. Black Lives Matter bails out the assassin, the attempted assassin, of a Democratic candidate for mayor in Louisville. Black Lives Matter bails him out. I think I'm starting to begin to understand a little bit about Jason Nemes's bill before the Kentucky House Legislature. Kevin McCarthy has come out and endorsed Liz Cheney's primary opponent. That shouldn't be a shocker, but when the House Minority Leader endorses your opponent, I think that says a lot about where Liz Cheney is today in the Republican Party. The top nuclear waste pick, check this guy. We got to put a picture up. This is the guy or gal or binary person that Joe Biden wants leading the nuclear waste agency in this country. Check this cat out. And you would not believe the things that he has said about all kinds of things. Like, really? This is the guy? This high school, you have high school pep rallies and whatnot. And these sweet little cheerleaders said, be prepared to leave a trail of tears. Now, my guess is those cheerleaders didn't know a damn thing about the Cherokee Trail of Tears. And this is like going national, this, oh my God, insensitive freaking remarks. By the way, stay tuned for my final thoughts. It's ridiculous. Trail of Tears. It's an expression. It just doesn't apply to Cherokee Indians. The People's Convoy, we just want to promote it again and again. We're going to do it every show. Do all that you can to promote the People's Convoy. We'll put up the website and everything else. Meanwhile, the Canadian Convoy, and this hit me like a ton of bricks. I saw an article where it's in the news, where they attacked the Canadian Convoy for blocking commerce. And it struck me. How come there wasn't negative press about Black Lives Matter blocking commerce throughout this country in 2020? No problem there. Senator Portman has endorsed Jane Timken, who's way down, yes, on the ladder in the Ohio Republican Party. By the way, Rob Portman himself may be a popular Ohio political figure, except with Trump voters, but he is not going to be able to transfer his support to Jane Timken. It's not going to work. And Rob Portman is milquetoast. I can't stand that guy. Senator Rob Portman, cannot stand him. President visitor logs. Good old Joe Biden will not give you the visitor logs where his Delaware White House is, but he's okay turning over anything visitor logs with Trump. Paybacks are hell. I can't wait to see the visitor logs of you, Joe Biden. YouTube's CEO, Susan Wojcicki or something, Wojcicki or whatever her name is, she says it's time for government to crack down more on free speech. American Communist 10, here we come. A CNN panel complained that Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre and company were not political enough during the halftime show. You know what? Did we not all roll with it? You know, it was in LA. You get it. It's like, hey, let that rap music have their stage. It's a big part of the United States. It's a big part of the NFL players. I'm sure that music with halftime is more the music that most of the NFL players listen to. Fans. Hey, you know what? Roll with it. See, and by the way, they weren't really political, except Eminem kneeling during the show, but it wasn't to the national anthem. There was a joke going around that he was just honoring Tim Tebow. But, you know, it wasn't political enough for CNN. Unbelievable. Final thoughts. My final thoughts today have to do with humor. I wrote a little, very short, it's my shortest one yet, a little piece, but I just want to share it with you. You know, I'm 58 years old. I grew up during the time of the Jeffersons, All in the Family, Sanford and Son, Eddie Murphy, Richard Pryor, The Benny Hill Show, Blazing Saddles, all of that. And we all laughed our butts off. You couldn't, All in the Family made fun of everything. You couldn't air All in the Family now on network television. And it's just amazing. And I'm all for the advancement of the human cause, but we don't have to destroy what's good. And I'm being serious, I was thinking about this. What are we allowed to joke about? What are we allowed to laugh about anymore? And it's slim pickings. You know, my guess is you can't even tell an animal joke probably now. You can't. You can't tell an animal joke. No, you know, you can't. It's unbelievable. Anything. I mean, you can't joke about a woman. You can't joke about it. Maybe you can still joke about an Irishman. You can't tell an Asian joke. You certainly couldn't tell any black joke. You can't tell any jokes about anything. I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, it's ridiculous. By the way, we're talking about humor that's funny, not hurtful. But of course, the woke says, oh, it's all hurtful. It's all hurtful. This is the Bulldog. Every dog has their day. The United States needs to get their sense of humor back.